change the face of retail. This is my first time at the India Retail Forum, although in 2004 I might have been the first reporter out of closet covering retail that was yet to happen. So it's good to see everyone here because we're really moving into the future at a serious clip. But even back then, there was one man who was changing the face of retail. And every time somebody else came up with a challenge to say, your idea is going to be short-lived, he came back with a bigger bang. And this man was Kishore Biyani. It's hard to not have him at this special forum, not once again look into the future and tell us what is he thinking, so that all of you, when you go back, you know what is on Mr. Biyani's mind. This evening, we're going to start a very interesting conversation, which in his words is going to leave each one of you scratching your heads. Can I invite Mr. Kishore Biyani right here on the stage? It's absolutely wonderful to have you here, year after year. You give people to think enough about the retail sector. So let me start with that very question. What is on your mind this time?
I think the mind is going back to maybe when the first IRF started and things have changed, evolved so much. And I think the world has changed so much. I think all the questions you are going to ask me is about e-commerce this time. And I think the first time it never existed. So the world has changed. Consumers is changing, the products have increased, the brands have increased, players have increased, malls have come about, the refrigerators are having more and more products, the wardrobes are bulging out. I think this forum has done a lot to the retail business. And I think this is a beginning.
So the business is good?
Business, retail, I think till the human being, human as a race always wants to consume more and more. And I think till the time human beings exist, retail will exist.
So you said that you already expect me to ask you questions about e-commerce. I know that's the new buzz phrase, online shopping. But why do I sense that you're not very convinced? Because you already put me on the back foot by saying, I know you're going to ask me about e-commerce. So are you convinced or are you not?
Nobody can dispute a new event which is happening. I think e-commerce is another way of selling goods and services to the consumer. It's a technology play and it's a supply chain play to a certain extent. But I believe retail is all about selling the brands, the products and the services to the consumers. You can use any medium to sell it, whether it's a physical medium or a digital medium. The consumer is the king, he can decide where he wants to buy from. But today, I think the interest in e-commerce lies because of the funding they are getting, the valuations which they are getting. And I think that's creating the interest in the media, in the people, and everybody believes there is a lot of money at the end of the rainbow.
But Mr. Biyani doesn't believe so?
I think I believe that in whichever business, once you start losing a lot of money, you get more valuation. So I think this business is, nobody understands the business.
Nobody understands, okay.
All the spreadsheets, Excel sheets are based on some assumptions which nobody understands. So whenever you don't understand a business, the analyst, the fund managers, they give you a lot of value.
I remember when you were building Big Bazaar, there was not a newspaper that I used to pick up which didn't have the first sheet saying Big Bazaar. Even now during certain campaigns I see that. But I now also see that with e-commerce websites. So do you think they're also trying to ape that kind of strategy because that is the only strategy in town? Or do you believe that they're actually running down a fair bit of money on advertising way too much and building valuations, as you said?
I wish we had that kind of money at that time to spend this kind of a campaign. And I think we could have attracted more and more customers. If you look at the online business, there are 28 million customers who have shopped online goods. And that's less than the loyal customers who are registered with us. In a sense, it's a very small pie yet. People are building predictions that they will grow and they will touch this kind of numbers. I think that the jury is not out yet. I believe physical retail and digital retail will converge someday or the other. It's a new form of doing business. But I think technology is overrated in this country to a certain extent. Technology, I think we use technology every day. There was a radio which came in, there was a locomotive which came in, there was an aeroplane, there was a car, there's a mobile phone, there is the internet. internet is being used to do many things. So technology is a part of everybody's life, and technology does only three things according to me. It reduces space, it reduces time, and it creates some social interaction in a new way.
Well, I can see some nodding heads there, but I'm sure they'll have questions for you. The point I want to take with you, Mr. Biyani, is that you've not stayed away from technology either, but you've used it as a buyer medium. Now, my question to you is that before we got onto the stage, you told me I'm going to come up with something that's going to get all of these people rethinking about what e-commerce truly is. Why don't you let out the secret?
I think we are in a marketplace. They are wanting consumers, we want consumers. We have a strategy on omni-channel which will help us to reach the consumers which we can't reach through physical stores. So we are going to extend our stores through technology. We are working on a big bazaar direct model in creating agents in every pin code of India, which will help in doing assisted e-commerce. So we have a whole plan which we are working on. That's a plan which will take a little while to get into the depth and breadth of the country. We have the products. All our stores will have a universal stock. They can become warehouses to deliver goods. So we have a big plan around using technology to do business. We have tied up with IIT Media Labs to build new technologies for us, creating a new supermarket trolley, working on augmented realities, working on Google Glass, multiple technologies. So I think technology is not domain of very few people. Everybody can access technology. Technologies are available on the shelf. It's how you use technology is going to be more important. We believe that by 2018, Future Group will be more of a data-driven company than ever. We have data of 30 million customers. We believe we have created a whole data science lab now in Bangalore. We are going to look at the consumers in a very unique way. And how can we create social interactions based on the consumption patterns, based on his community and the linguistic community, the kind of people, the profiling which we do, and do a predictive analysis on how much we can make them spend and how can we create social interactions with them.
So how did you come to the conclusion that the data you were sitting on had to be used for more than just what people are using it currently, which may be either for loyalty or for that matter, keeping up the e-commerce push notifications and so on? What is it, the big idea that you see in the data that you've got?
I think we would be knowing everything about that customer. And like Google knows it all, Future Group will know it all about that customer in terms of how will they consume, what will they consume, and how will make them consume. So I think it's a science which we are working on. And we are writing algorithms to predict what they are going to buy. So as a customer, I can do a lot of understanding. We have a reasonable amount of understanding of the consumers. And we believe all that knowledge, if it is put together into a science, we will be able to do a lot with that consumer.
But even as you do that, I mean, with all this information around the consumer, there's sort of this tendency, and I think this is what came across during the entire conference today and yesterday, that it's going away and away from just the product or just the service. It's going, bigger in terms of what choices people make, how they think instead of what they buy. So do you think we're getting away from just the product or the service to a larger piece called the brand experience? And if so, what is Mr. Biyani's foresight of that?
I think if you look at the e-commerce business is all about reduction. And so we have a format called Central, which is only moving towards seduction. I think we have to seduce the consumers now, to come into a physical store, to have a kinesthetic experience of all the five senses, how we can invoke. So our first Central store, Bangalore, we are totally redoing the store, and it's being based on the lines of seduction. So you'll find food, you will find a lot of visual language, you can touch, feel, smell. It's a very different kind of a store design. Probably it's being tried out for the first time in the world. So the theme of the store is seduction. Without a cabaret, there will be everything here.
So are you telling me that you'll be able to, seduce me to buy shoes, but by making me eat chocolate? I mean, how do you even bring the two together?
Let the store come about.
Okay, so I guess a lot of these people should stay back in Mumbai, or am I giving out too much?
Let's see.
Okay, let's see. Well, let's talk about the idea of how you have created, technology platforms at one level and at the other this entire data. How are you going to put the two together from a foresight point of view to actually carry the philosophy that you've got to be able to make some money off retail, right? Is technology helping make more money? Is it becoming a multi-bagger story or not yet? Or is the investment too much?
I think technology, our internal predictions, when we work internally, we believe that once we have an omni-channel strategy implemented in full, our stores can increase productivity by 30%. What they are currently doing with the normal growth which they do on the physical side, we should be able to grow 30% without investing any significant amount of money. So I think technology can help us to increase productivity of the store. Technology can help us to sell products which are not stocked in the store. Technology can help us to know more and more about that customer and how do you interact with them. Technology can help us to build more and more loyalty of the customers in our store. I think if you look at the world, the companies which are doing phenomenally well on the technology space, most is data driven now.
A takeover tycoon for a fair bit. You've also sold some of your big brands that have been bought over by large business houses. Now on, as you see yourself, you're actually building private labels which other companies are willing to sell for you. I mean, how better positioned can someone be that you are actually creating labels that people are willing to pick up and say, I am going to project it on our website or our e-commerce platform. That should really be a good taste of your success in a story that started, what, about a decade ago?
I think we were doing our internal numbers in terms of how much we sell out of e-commerce. And I think this year we would do more than 400 crores or 500 crores of business selling out of various sites in e-commerce. Next year we think we can do around 1,000 crores of business. So our brands are selling on the internet.
So why set up something of your own when everybody else is selling for you?
We did set up on our own. We got very marquee investors investing with us. I think we created a silsila movie, did it maybe 8-10 years ago.
Right.
And the money didn't last. So we stopped that business and now we are using other sites to sell our products.
You said that with great honesty, the money didn't last. Do you see this happening to others who are around here?
I think there are 4 players who are left now, 4 or 5. There are 2,000 which has closed down.
Yeah.
And now we'll see who will win the battle. I think till the time they are going to give discounts. I think in the earlier forum, in one of the forums I said the internet commerce, the e-commerce business reminds me of a song from a movie called Shaili. Jab tak hai jahan mein nachungi. So till the time they get money, they are going to run this business.
Okay, interesting. I hope there are some private equity guys out there making some notes for sure. Mr. Biyani, let's talk about a business that's been core to your success. Food and groceries. And then, we went from Big Bazaar to the Kirana store to the spectacular food hall. And now you've got something that's happening in less than a week that could once again change the future of the food market and food production in India from a retail standpoint. I don't want to say it, you say it.
I think we had a dream that like we did it in fashion business, today 90% of the fashion which we sell in our stores are our own brands. And we sell more than 15 million garments, 150 million garments a year. In terms of volumes, it's huge. We always believed that 7 years ago, we believed that our dream should be how can we sell food in our stores, which is our own food. And how can you create a rasoi behind your stores, which can make everything what you sell. So we invested in something called a Mega Food Park in Tumkur, Bangalore. And we created an entire backend facility. It's a huge park. It's a 110-acre park which will which has a pulping line, which has IKF, which will create frozen goods. We have ripening plants for banana, mangoes, many fruits. We have a rice mill, a flour mill, pasta unit, chocolate, ketchups. You name the product, and I think every factory is being set up there. The facility is being inaugurated by the Prime Minister of India on 24th of this month. So it's a great honor for us that Prime Minister is taking interest in the food business in the country.
I think that deserves an applause, given that this is the first, it's happening in Tumkur, and none other than the Prime Minister is going to be out there inaugurating this. So the idea of the PM that Make in India is actually coming true through some of this.
I think Make in India and many products with a lot of international technology. We are very proud of what we have created. I believe by 2018 we are setting up 3 food parks. We have already acquired land in Kolkata, which is for the eastern market, and there is a land we might acquire in the next 7 days in Madhya Pradesh. So we'll have 3 food parks catering to all our stores, which will produce goods worth more than 20,000 crores. And 80% of the goods by 2018 which we sell in our stores will be our own brands.
So let me ask you this. Would you be making more money in the next 5 years through the entire food production story than you are going to be making off the consumer by selling it at the last point of sale?
I think I'll definitely be making more money and all the e-commerce business put together in my food business.
But make note, I guess everybody's getting a bit jittery at this moment. Mr. Biyani, the India Retail Forum has never been complete without getting a bit of a foresight, a bit of a caution, a bit of an excitement of what lies in the next 5 or 10 years. I mean, as you said, several businesses have shut down, several are coming every other day. Would it be the power of being a general business house, retail house, or would it be the power of being a niche one? How do you see the trends change over the next 5 to 10 years?
I think trends have always evolved. If you look at the 12 years history of the retail forums, a lot of things have changed. I think the next 5 to 10 years, maybe multiple things will change. I see myself not sitting here firstly. The next generation is already into business. So I think a new generation will definitely come into business. New categories. I think India is moving in fashion. We have evolved a lot. I believe fashion industry has matured significantly. We expect the food industry to significantly mature. We are experimenting with a lot of food, a lot of cuisines. A lot of QSR restaurants have come. Every kind of cuisine is available in the country today. We will see more and more use of technology, data. A lot of things are going to emerge. Very difficult to predict the future. I believe the change will be much more faster than one can imagine.
Will it also be more subtle from a consumer standpoint? Do you see that consumers become more refined in their tastes? Or will the Indian consumer take a while to get that hat off? I need the cheapest, I need the best, I need the biggest discount possible.
I think Indian consumers are experimenting with brands. They believe in brands now. More and more brand presence we are seeing a lot of communication, a lot of advertising, a lot of brand building. Especially I'm seeing Western women wear moving towards the international brands. Indian ethnic with the Indian brands. I think many menswear business has matured significantly. We will see many more brands coming in, a lot of young labels, brands coming up, more retail formats shaping up. I think the industry will be very different in the next 10 years than what it is today.
So let me ask you this, is this a debate that happens all the time in technology, that if the rest of the world has come up with things like an iPhone or possibly with Android as a platform, when will India have its biggest retail innovation? Do you see that happen? If you see that happen, in what form and shape do you see that happen? Could it be a brand as big as potentially an international brand? I mean, if you count, let's say, the Gucci or the Michael Kors of the world, India's lapping it up. But when will we have that kind of a level of a brand?
If you look at the technology play, most of the technology in the world, there has been a play of an Indian in the technology creation, any product creation. I think when we have started looking at data science built up in the country, we have scanned the world for people and everybody was an Indian. So I think Indians have done so much in other part of the world. And if we can create an environment for them to come into India, I think we can create something which we can offer to the world. But we need that entrepreneurship, we need that environment in which they can perform and work well. I think the next 10 years, if the new government is able to create that environment and create that entrepreneurship zeal drive, we will see an Indian product being sold in the world, Indian technology being used by the world, and Indian retail formats going across the world.
And then in that case, Mr. Biyani, your strategy would then be to take India to the world. Is that really a long-term thinking on that?
I think I don't get excited by opening a store in London, Milan. I would rather get excited opening a store in Patna, Ranchi and other places. We are opening our 4th store in Patna, by the way, on 26th of this month. So I think we are excited with Patna as a market. I believe it's one of the best Indian markets.
So basically you're saying the Indian consumption story can be driven by India itself, something that we lost along the way the last 5-7 years when the environment of business got a bit upset. But otherwise you think that is really the story forward?
If things go well and everybody is optimistic about the future of this country, and if a lot of Indians come back, we can open more food halls because food hall is dependent on people who are stayed abroad. So there are many new formats which can emerge. I think India has a lot of promise. Nowhere you can get a 1.2 billion customer base, so many cities, geographies, climatic conditions. I think India is a very interesting country, and let's start believing in our country again.
Let's start believing in the country again. Well, you haven't given too many interviews this evening, so I know that there's a question all journalists are hoping I'm going to ask on their behalf. Is the FDI and multi-brand story dead?
I think it's a very interesting story. I think we have been discussing FDI in this forum every year, and you can't.
Yeah, that's right.
But I believe who is interested now to come to India? By the time a lot of countries have changed their strategy about hypermarket as a business has changed all over the world. new forms of retail have emerged everywhere. I believe we got it wrong in the first place. We got the definition of FDI, multi-brand, single brand. This understanding itself working. That's the reason we are not able to allow e-commerce to come in. Because I don't know in what definition it fits in. So the government probably will have to look at the definition of FDI and retail again. They'll have to come down to the kind of definition like convenience stores, supermarket, hypermarket, departmental stores, e-commerce. And I believe they will have to relook at the policing. And that's how probably FDI in some form can come in. And if they have to restrict food as a business, they can do it by restricting a particular format of retail rather than banning everything today.
So you've thrown so many thoughts at all of us this evening, whether it's from e-coms to technology to data to what have you. My question to you is, a few years ago on this very forum, we were talking about the call of the mall brands. Is that something that suddenly has kind of become a sublime part of people's shopping experience, and it's no longer, the central part?
But mall has become a way of life for us. I think mall is the only public space. We don't have open gardens and public spaces.
Not Mumbai, yes.
Everywhere. So I think mall is the public space. Yeah. We see people coming to malls, meeting people. I think mall is a part of our daily life now. So I think mall is no more a new thing. I think the current new thing is the e-commerce space.
As I wrap this up, before we take on some questions, Mr. Biyani, one thing that you regret doing in retail and one thing that you're very excited about in the short term, let's say about the next 1 year.
I regret doing too many formats in retail, and I'm excited about the new way of retail. I'm excited to compete with e-commerce players. So we are launching something probably on October 1st to some big event which we have never done before. I believe that will give a good run to all the e-commerce companies.
I hope, Amitabh, that you might have to do another forum right after that during that week, or given how exciting this is set to get. Okay, we're going to take some more questions. Some questions for Mr. Biyani. I'll need some assistance with the mic around. Anyone with questions? Please use the traditional method of raising your hand and mic will arrive. And since we can't see you too well, please be kind enough to introduce yourself.
Hello sir, this is Abhishek. Actually, in every field or every industry, there are winners and there are people of the concept which are not the winners. I'd rather say losers, not the losers, not the winners. So in India, what I feel, if there are 100 malls, 60 are successful but 40 are not successful. Okay. Now, for those 40, people say footfall nahi hai, people say brand nahi hai iske andar. So what comes first? It's a brand or a footfall?
I think the product and the brand which always comes first. I think if your assortment is good, if your tenancy mix is good, the customers should come in. But I think retail is still about location. If the mall is located well, it's designed well, and it has the best tenants, I think the customers will come in. But in any consumer business, I think the success rate is now more than 30%. So if you launch 10 products, only 2 work the best. If you look at the cinemas, the Bollywood, there are more than 180 films which get released every year. But only 2 are blockbusters and rest are hits and misses. But most of them are flops.
Is there a way out for them to differentiate though? I mean, not the movies, I'm talking about these malls.
I think it's very similar to films. If you don't get the actor right, the script right, the music right, the film won't work.
Okay.
Good evening, Kevin. My name is C.K. Kumaranil of Natural Salon. You wrote a book, It Happened in India some time back, and that showed how you have grown in your business. Do you want to write another book which tells what all not to do so that the new retailers can understand and not do the same mistake?
I think it's a very good idea you've given me. So maybe whenever I think about doing something, I'll write this book of what not to do in retail.
Before you make sure you've exhausted all your ideas so you don't give them away. Okay, more questions. We can hear you.
Yeah. So Biyani, I'm Varun Khurana. My question is, I see a shift from retail to maybe food processing with your Tumkur plans. Do you think there's more value added in food processing than food retailing?
Absolutely. I think if you look at the margin, what you get when you sell a glucose biscuit, you know what margin do we get? Around 7 to 8%. Do you think retailers should get 7 to 8% margin to sell a product? If you look at the chocolates which we sell, we get margins of maybe 15 to 18%. You know what is the shrinkage of that chocolate? 11% in the store. So I think these companies have treated us very, very badly, and they have not given us margins. And that's the only reason we have to get into food processing on our own. Secondly, no Indian company is creating product, no multinational is working on creating products which suits the Indian palate of taste. There has to be an Indian company which has to create products which the Indians like. And today the multinationals will only going to launch products which are made maybe in their country. So there had to be somebody who had to do this business.
So your new competition is FMCG, not retail.
I'm not in the market to sell my products.
Excuse me, sir. Hello. Myself is Hello.
We can hear you.
Yeah, myself is Piyush from TCI. Now the Walmart is coming in India. So what will be your business strategy to compete with them?
Well, first question should be, is Walmart coming to India? And yes, there is a part of Walmart that's here, but that's a different way of looking at things.
I think Mr. Krish here representing Walmart is here, and I am asking all my food processing capabilities which you are building up, and whatever the spare capacity which I can't consume, I am going to offer it to him on this forum.
But I certainly think people will go back with some business strategies here, how to make money even if you can't make it in your core business. Some more questions.
A follow-up question. When your food processing products, when you sell it to the other retailers, will you treat them well?
I'm not going to sell it to other retailers. I have people like Walmart, Best Price, Metro and other wholesalers. Probably I'll sell it to them.
My name is Abhinav. What should be a couple of takeaways for the next generation? Like you mentioned, in a couple of years you might see the next generation coming in. So a couple of takeaways and learnings from your side.
I think there was a saying which I like the most: people who are asleep makes no mistake. So keep on doing something and you might get it right. So keep on trying. I think entrepreneurship is all about trying, having conviction and belief in what you're doing. And one has to do something to be successful.
How did your daughters change you? In what way did they change you? It's exactly the opposite of what you just said, you know, what you're telling others to do, but I'm sure your daughters must have said, Dad, you need to fix that.
I think they are a very honest critic of mine. And I think that's what a relationship you build. So they can tell you on your face, which a lot of people can't tell you. So in that sense, and they represent a different generation. You learn about the new customers from them. So I think the new generation tells you a lot.
I think we'll take a few more questions. We have time for a few more questions.
Mr. Biyani, this is Jatin Gandhi here. I've been associated with the textile industry for over 25 years now. We are a startup, setting up, launching our own brand in India. What's your take on the textile industry, and what do you think as a startup we should look at? What side? Competing with FDI, 100% FDI allowed in single brand, what is it that you suggest or recommend for textile players in India?
I think textile has been an age-old industry. Fashion as a business, I believe, is doing reasonably well. There are many brands which, I believe there are some brands which have started touching 1,000 crores of revenues. I think in the next 5 years, we would see $1 billion fashion brand in the country. So there is enough scope. You have to find a segment in which you want to get in, believe in that, and create the best product. There are many outlets where you can sell your goods. We have Central, which we offer to a lot of players to sell their merchandise. And there's a market in India, huge market.
Thank you so much.
We have one final question, and that would be it. We've got an eye on the clock. I think it's coming from that end.
Mr. Biyani, this is Fahad from Tata Swatch. You have already shared your thoughts on how FMCG is going to pan out when Big Bazaar is concerned. But we wanted, if you could share your thoughts on how the electronic space, the e-zones particularly, how do you see it in the next, say, 5-10 years?
I'm a big believer of electronic business because I think all the power plants in India, once it starts, we'll have surplus power in this country. And once we have power, I think electrical goods sales will be huge. And the amount of refrigerators, air conditioners, fans, all which we can sell, electrical goods, I think it has a fantastic future. This category will grow at double digits and e-zone will play a role in that. We are expanding e-zones in our own locations, wherever we have stores. And we believe it has already crossed 1,000 crore mark. We think by this year end we'll achieve a run rate of more than 2,000 crores for electronic business, which is quite substantial.
Okay, some great insights there. Before we let you off the stage, I have a question. It is a tough one. Has Kishore Biyani been able to spot the next Kishore Biyani? And where would that kind of a person come from? Do you have that kind of person amidst us? Have you been able to spot them?
We have many leaders in our group. Rakesh is one of the leaders who is always with me and running the business. There is a younger generation who has joined business. But I think the way we are looking at business is very, very different. We believe there is going to be food business, there is going to be fashion business, and there is going to be retail business. And we believe all has to come together to make the magic happen. And there is still a lot of work going around. And once you institutionalize the business, I think we believe the business is all about creation and control together. So we are building a team. Like I'm still into the creation side more than the control side. Rakesh is more on the control side than the creation side. One of my daughter is more on the control side. My other daughter is on the creation side. I believe a combination of creation and control will be the work which will happen because the way things are changing in the country, the creation is always going to happen. And we are one organization who has always worked in believing in creating always something new. I think Food Park is one of the creations. The data science will be one of the creations. And I think still the business is still being run and it has to be controlled.
Good luck, Mr. Biyani, and thank you very much. I'm sure we'll see you next year and for years to come. Well, we've got plenty more lined up over the week, over the evening, so I'm going to actually step off the stage and be back in a short while. Stay right there.